In 2020, the closest restaurant to my house was a Burger King. Today, I've got a Cooper's Hawk, a Portillo's, and a Shake Shack within a 5-minute drive. Same house, same corner, 6 years later. This is a story of how Surprise, Arizona went from there's nothing out there to one of the fastest growing cities in America. And I watched the whole thing happen from my front door. Hey everyone, what's going on? I'm Danny Lopez, your Surprise, Arizona real estate resource. And today's video is a little different because this one's personal. My wife and I moved to Surprise back in 2020. We live right here at 175th Avenue and Cactus in the Prasada community. And when we first got here, I'll be straight with you, there wasn't much out here. A Walmart, a Fry's, and a Burger King. That was about it within a couple of miles from our house. Today, it's a completely different story. And that transformation, what we watch happen right outside our front door, is one of the most compelling reasons I can give anyone who's considering a move out here. So today, I'm walking you through it. What Surprise looked like when we arrived, what it looks like now, and what's still coming, including a brand new announcement from this past March that I'll get to at the end because it might be the biggest sign yet of where this city's headed. Let's get into it. When we moved here in 2020, Surprise already had good bones, good schools, safe neighborhoods, some great master plan communities. The foundation was there. But if you lived on the northwest side, which is where we are, you felt the gap. You wanted a nice dinner out, you were driving to Peoria or Scottsdale. You needed a Target run, that was 30 to 45 minutes round trip. Nordstrom Rack, forget about it. And almost everyone else we talked to back then, people who were thinking about moving out here, had the same hesitation. It sounds great, but there's nothing out there. I remember that, because honestly, they weren't wrong. But I'll tell you the first sign that things were about to change. We moved here September of 2020. 1 month later, Costco opened its doors before anything else. And people were excited. I mean, genuinely excited. That parking lot was packed from day one. Looking back, that was the first domino. But what nobody saw coming, what even I didn't see coming, was how fast everything was about to follow. The story really starts with one development, Village at Prasada, right at the corner of Loop 303 and Waddell, a short drive from our house. A developer called Simon CRE broke ground on what would become the most significant retail project in the entire West Valley. 700,000 square feet of shopping, dining, and entertainment. To put that in perspective, that's the largest retail development built on the West Coast in a decade. And we watched it all go up from nothing, dirt to steel to storefronts. When it started opening up in phases in late 2022, everything changed at once. Chick-fil-A, Total Wine, Sprouts, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Panera, Black Rock Coffee, all of it right here. Then came the restaurants, and this is where it really got good. Cooper's Hawk Winery, Firebird's Wood-Fired Grill, Barrio Queen, Lou Malnati's Deep Dish. Yes, real Chicago deep dish in Surprise. Also Brewery, Shake Shack, Portillo's. I want you to sit on that list for a second. 5 years ago, my closest option was a Burger King. Now I've got a Cooper's Hawk down the road. That's not a small upgrade. That's a different lifestyle. And it didn't stop there. Prasada North opened up right across Waddell, another 350,000 square feet. And that's where the big anchors landed. We got a brand new Target, 151,000 square feet, opened in April of 2025. Kohl's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Nordstrom Rack, Burlington, Hobby Lobby, Boot Barn, Five Below, Think about what this corner looked like 5 years ago. Now look at that list. We also got a brand new Home Depot along Cactus Road, just off the 303, opened the same week as Target. Those two stores alone brought 350 jobs to Surprise. On the dining side, First Watch for breakfast, Torchy's Tacos, Einstein Bros, Portillo's, Ono Hawaiian, Mod Pizza. There's even a Starbucks inside the Target. The days of driving 45 minutes for a decent dinner or a basic shopping run, flat out over. Now here's the part I want buyers and anyone thinking about relocating here to really hear, because this isn't just a lifestyle story, this is a real estate story. When we moved here in 2020, Surprise had about 143,000 people. Today we've passed 180,000. That's nearly 26% growth in 5 years, and we're still growing at 4.2% a year, more than 3 times the state average. Within just a 5-mile radius of Prasada, the population is projected to top 150,000 residents by 2030, with an average household income of 120,000. Now, here's why that matters. Retailers don't just show up in places like this by accident. They do their homework. So when you see a Target, Nordstrom Rack, Cooper's Hawk, and Dick's Sporting Goods all commit to the same corridor, that's a signal. That's smart money following population growth. And as both a homeowner and an agent in this market, I can tell you, when the area around you gets more desirable, your home gets more valuable. We didn't just watch that happen, we lived it. And here's the part I get most excited about, because we're still in the middle of the story, not the end. Remember that announcement I mentioned at the top? Here it is. In March of 2026, Prasada East was announced, a brand new 14-acre development bringing a 35,000 square foot Whole Foods market and a Flower Child restaurant to the corridor. A Whole Foods in Surprise. If you know what that brand looks for in a location, you know exactly what it says about where the city's headed. And it keeps going. More mixed-use development is breaking ground along the 303. New communities are being built. New retail keeps signing on. Even ADOT, the Arizona Department of Transportation, is studying new interchange options along the 303, specifically because the growth out here has outpaced the infrastructure. Now, some of you hear that and think traffic problem. I hear something different. When the DOT starts redesigning freeways around your neighborhood, you're not in a place that's being overlooked. You're in a place that's on the map. So let me bring this home. I moved here in 2020 when there wasn't much out here, and I've never once regretted it, because the community was always great. The people, the neighborhoods, the quality of life, that part's always been here. What changed is that the rest of the city finally caught up to what the people living here already knew. If you've been on the fence about Surprise, maybe you've visited, maybe you've watched the videos, but somebody keeps telling you there's nothing out there. I need you to hear me. That is no longer the reality. What's here today would have been unrecognizable when I first pulled up in 2020. And what's coming over the next 5 years is going to make today look like the early days. If you want to talk through which neighborhoods make the most sense for you, or you just want to get a better feel for what's actually out here now, reach out. Call or text me directly at 623-738-4894. I live here and I know this market. I'd love to help you figure out if Surprise is your next chapter. If this video was helpful, please do me a favor and subscribe. I put out new content every week on living and relocating here in Surprise, Arizona. I'm Danny Lopez. Let's make sure your next chapter is the right one. See you on the next one.